Hey everyone, I'm Zack from Await.ai, where we've built an AI chatbot that doesn't leave you legally liable. So today we're exploring the world of AI, its pros and cons, and the legal issues you need to know. So AI is everywhere, changing how we work, live, and everything in between, but it's not all smooth sailing. Some serious pitfalls, especially legal ones, can catch anyone off guard. So we're here to walk you through what's happening with AI today, the significant issues with its implementation, and how you can avoid legal headaches. So as we kick things off, let's go over our roadmap for today's presentation. First, we'll paint the big picture, how AI is transforming our daily lives and businesses for better and for worse. Next, we'll uncover the typical problems and risks associated with using AI, including unexpected security breaches in the moments AI decides to go off script. Moving on to legal landmines, it's crucial to know what legal risks exist. We'll discuss how these issues can affect your operation and why staying informed is your best defense. Then you'll get actionable advice on how to protect yourself from AI lawsuits. Finally, make sure to stick around until the end to get access to our free AI lawsuit prevention checklist, which is packed with tips on using AI safely and effectively to minimize legal risks. So AI adoption is obviously soaring in 2024, and this exponential growth is fueled by AI's promise to transform operations, customer engagement, and the products we use every day. So as we navigate this AI revolution, we're also becoming aware of its inherent risks and limitations. So a key concern lies with the reliability of outputs from generative large language models. While these models offer incredible capabilities, their accuracy can't always be guaranteed. So this uncertainty poses significant risks when AI-generated responses directly impact customer interactions or critical business decisions. So rapid AI adoption is forcing organizations to balance innovation with the critical need to maintain their brand image and ethical standards. So as we embrace AI, we must also navigate its limitations carefully, ensuring that our goals align with its capabilities. So as you integrate LLMs into your business, it's imperative to address their inherent limitations and the complexities they introduce. So LLMs have demonstrated advanced capabilities in generating text that closely mimics human responses. However, beneath this facade lies an important distinction. LLMs do not possess proper understanding or reasoning abilities. While often compelling, their outputs come from vast data sets rather than genuine comprehension. So the efficacy of LLMs is deeply intertwined with the quality and scope of their training data. So inaccuracies or biases within this data can lead to outputs known as hallucinations. So challenging the reliability of LLM-generated content. Now, the assumption that cloud LLMs operate solely on an organization's proprietary data is a misconception. In reality, these models draw upon the broader expanse of the internet's content, influencing their responses and potentially veering into unwanted territories. Developing custom LLMs tailored presents a theoretical solution to some of these challenges, yet the investment and expertise required make this option impractical for many businesses. Now, despite the advancements such as reinforcement learning, LLMs continue to exhibit limitations that cannot be easily overcome. So acknowledging LLMs' limitations, from their hallucinations to the challenges of custom development, allows us to harness their strengths while finding creative ways to solve these problems. So organizations worldwide are definitely feeling the pressure to adopt AI to stay competitive. But headlines about AI lawsuits serve as a daily reminder of the potential repercussions. Now, because of this, deploying safe, reliable, and accurate AI is becoming increasingly important. Consider the implications in a healthcare website. So if an AI chatbot mistakenly directs a patient to the wrong entrance to the emergency room, the consequences could be dire, not just for the patient, but also for the organization's reputation and legal standing. Now, this scenario highlights the critical importance of accuracy in AI-generated responses, a challenge compounded by cloud LLMs' inherent limitations. Now, these limitations mean that organizations cannot guarantee 100% accuracy in the answers their AI systems provide. So this uncertainty poses a significant risk, particularly for entities operating in highly regulated industries like healthcare, finance, and government. So through extensive interviews with professionals in these industries, we found that a mixture of comprehensive safeguards and simple approval workflows is a way to ensure chatbot answers never get you into trouble. So engaging with key stakeholders across industries has revealed a clear pathway for navigating the legal intricacies of AI deployment. So this strategy involves the implementation of industry-specific safeguards. Integrating safeguards aligned with regulatory standards significantly mitigates non-compliance risk. Now, it's important to combine safeguards with human approval workflows. Now, these workflows allow your team to efficiently review and modify AI-generated content and ensure users get perfect responses. Now, so rigorous testing frameworks enable easy identification of errors in AI responses ahead of public deployment as well. Now, effective caching mechanisms allow for the swift recall of verified responses, so users will only see the reactions that you want them to see. And finally, educating your teams on the risks and legal ramifications of AI cultivates a culture of informed decision-making, which is essential for navigating the AI landscape responsibly. So the next 4 slides will explore the common ways AI systems can be compromised. So this exploration will span from malicious attacks orchestrated by external actors to vulnerabilities beyond your control. Now, these vulnerabilities pose a significant risk to your brand reputation and may lead to legal liabilities. So the first way LLMs can be broken is through what we call prompt injection. Now, prompt injection exploits the merging of instructions in data within an AI's processing logic, allowing attackers to insert commands into data fields. Put simply, this can force the AI to execute actions unattended by its developers, posing a significant security risk. Now, this form of attack is not limited to instruction-based models, but extends to any model using prompt-based learning. So attackers can manipulate the AI's tasks by inserting their own examples or directives within the input, making the model echo or execute specific actions. Now, the impact of such exploitation ranges from seemingly harmless pranks to potentially severe outcomes, such as bypassing hate speech detection or leaking sensitive information. Now, understanding and mitigating prompt injection attacks are vital for maintaining the security and integrity of your AI systems. Next, we'll focus on denial of service attacks, tailored explicitly for AI systems. So denial of service attacks are a significant security concern for LLMs. Now, these attacks involve excessively engaging LLM services and consuming vast amounts of resources. Now, this overuse disrupts service for legitimate users and can lead to significant financial losses due to the inflated use of computational resources. Now, attackers often exploit these vulnerabilities by accessing third-party LLMs like OpenAI's GPT through a jailbroken interface, using the victim's application as an unauthorized bridge to these services. Now, consequences of these attacks include downtime that leaves users without service, degraded performance resulting in slower response times and inefficiency, and financial strain from unexpected operational costs. So the increasing integration of LLMs with databases, APIs, and code interpreters has heightened the risk of cybersecurity threats, including SQL injection and remote code execution. So these developments open up new vulnerabilities that must be swiftly identified and addressed. So the primary areas of concern involve safeguarding against the execution of malicious code, preventing unauthorized access or manipulation of databases through SQL injection, and defending against web-based attacks such as cross-site scripting and cross-site request forgery, which threaten user data and interaction security. So recognizing and mitigating these risks is crucial in ensuring the safe and secure use of LLM integrations. So jailbreaking LLMs, like OpenAI's ChatGPT or Google's Bard, introduced a host of potential security threats by circumventing the model's intended operational parameters. So techniques such as role-playing scenarios or adding nonsensical character strings as inputs have been utilized to mislead these AI models into generating inappropriate content. Now, understanding jailbreaking is vital for securing your AI applications. So the essence of these attacks lies in their ability to bypass the LLM's built-in safeguards, showcasing a critical area of concern for developers and enterprises alike. Now, as LLMs become more integrated into our digital infrastructure, recognizing and defending against jailbreaking attempts is essential for maintaining the security and integrity of AI-driven services. So in the upcoming 3 slides, we'll explore the ramifications of deploying AI systems without adequate protection against the malicious attacks we've discussed. So if not adequately mitigated, these threats can lead to severe consequences for organizations, including prompt leaks, sensitive data disclosure, privilege escalation, and toxic, biased, or harmful responses. So prompt leaking in AI systems involves unintentionally disclosing a model's internal prompts or logic. Now, this vulnerability surfaces when specifically designed inputs trick the AI into unveiling its core operational prompts. So the consequences of prompt leaks include privacy breaches, intellectual property infringement, and significant damage to your reputation. So addressing prompt leaks is essential for maintaining the integrity of AI deployments, safeguarding intellectual assets, and upholding organizational reputation. So while AI offers unprecedented opportunities, it also introduces formidable challenges in safeguarding sensitive and proprietary data. So the risk of sensitive data disclosure through AI outputs is a tangible threat that organizations face daily. So as AI models process and generate data, they can reveal confidential information. So these unintended disclosures can lead to significant security breaches, compromising personal and business data. Now, this vulnerability exposes organizations to legal and financial repercussions and erodes the trust of customers and stakeholders. So as AI continues to evolve, developing robust mechanisms to protect sensitive information becomes imperative, ensuring that the benefits of AI can be harnessed without compromising data privacy and security. So when implementing AI, businesses face the complex challenge of managing the risks associated with toxicity, bias, and harmful responses. Now, toxic outputs can damage a brand's reputation, lead to mistrust among users, and even result in litigation. Bias in AI can undermine fairness, propagate discrimination, and harm affected groups. To navigate these challenges, companies must adopt a proactive stance and implement robust safeguards for AI governance, including regular audits, bias mitigation strategies, and transparency mechanisms. So privilege escalation encapsulates the critical security risks when AI systems gain unauthorized access or perform actions beyond their defined scope. Now, this issue is particularly concerning for AI models during the training and inference phases, interacting with vast data sets and performing operations based on user inputs. Now, privilege escalation can lead to severe consequences, such as unauthorized data access, data breaches, and the execution of unintended or harmful actions. Now, implementing the principle of least privilege, hence ensuring AI models have only the necessary permissions to fulfill their tasks, is crucial in mitigating these risks. So this involves stringent permission settings, regular audits, and a thorough understanding of the AI model's access during its learning and operational phases. So in a legal case you might have heard of, Air Canada was actually the center of a negligent misrepresentation lawsuit due to the actions of its AI chatbot. So negligent misrepresentation concerns providing false information carelessly or without an adequate basis for its truth. Now, the incident with Air Canada's chatbot, which communicated the airline's policy on bereavement fares, underscores the complexities and risks inherent in utilizing AI for customer communications. So the chatbot's misleading information led a customer to make decisions based on inaccurate data, culminating in a successful legal claim against the airline. So this incident emphasizes the importance of rigorous validation and safeguard mechanisms for external-facing AI. So ensuring the integrity of AI-generated content is not merely about enhancing customer experience, but also about safeguarding against potentially devastating legal liabilities stemming from misinformation. So having explored how AI can expose organizations to liability, from data breaches to negligent misrepresentation, let's shift our focus toward actionable steps to mitigate these risks. So the following slides will delve into the practical and effective strategies to safeguard your AI initiatives. By implementing these measures, you can ensure your AI applications operate within legal and ethical frameworks, minimizing potential legal challenges and fostering trust in AI-driven solutions. So the first way to maintain control over AI applications is through safeguards. Now, safeguards ensure that your AI applications adhere to predefined ethical and legal boundaries. So many cloud hosting providers, including Azure, have integrated these safeguards directly into their platforms, offering protection right from the outset. But that's never enough. Safeguards in AI function as comprehensive checks and controls that monitor and regulate the interaction between users and AI applications. They are designed to prevent the AI from generating or acting on outputs that might contradict organizational policies, ethical standards, or legal regulations. Essentially, they act as a filter, ensuring that every output from the AI aligns with set guidelines. Whether it's maintaining privacy, preventing biased responses, or ensuring the security of the data processed. Now, implementing safeguards involves defining clear rules and corrective actions that the AI must follow. This might include setting boundaries around the types of data the AI can access, the kind of language it can use, and the decisions it's authorized to make. By doing so, organizations can prevent a myriad of potential issues, such as unintentional data breaches, propagation of bias, or legal violations due to inappropriate AI behavior. Now, one practical example of this implementation can be seen in the dialogue systems of AI applications. With safeguarding in place, an AI trained for customer service can automatically filter out and refuse to engage in conversations that contain abusive language or requests for sensitive information beyond its clearance. So safeguards also provide a mechanism for human oversight, allowing for intervention when the AI's actions fall into a gray area or when it encounters scenarios that weren't anticipated during its training. Now, implementing safeguards is going to be your first step in the responsible deployment of AI technologies. They protect organizations from potential legal risks, maintain public trust in AI applications, and ensure that everything is working properly. All right, so now let's get into approval workflows. So approval workflows give teams complete control over their AI applications. So we developed this system for our own AI application, Await Cortex. Approval workflows ensure that any output produced by an AI chatbot undergoes thorough scrutiny and validation by a human before being made public or utilized within your business. So the process starts by leveraging AI to auto-generate question and answer combinations from internal or external knowledge bases, simulating potential interactions users can have with the bot. Now, to manage the volume of generated content, we use a backlog to organize the thousands of answers awaiting approval. And then based on specific criteria, an answer is selected for review. Now, this is put in a separate screen that allows users to visualize the progress of pending approvals through different stages and enables teams to work in sprints, kind of similar if you know this agile development, to complete a set amount of approvals within a specific time frame. So team members can edit, delete, or approve AI outputs to guarantee they are always 100% accurate and ethical. So approval workflows protect organizations from potential legal challenges by ensuring that all AI-generated content is accurate, relevant, and compliant before deployment. All right, so cached answers offer an approach to improving the consistency of AI chatbot responses. Now, organizations can ensure accurate information across all user engagements by predefining specific responses to frequently asked questions. Now, this method guarantees the precision of answers to common questions, such as what is your contact information, and significantly reduces the likelihood of errors or inappropriate responses. So introducing cached answers into an AI communication strategy narrows the scope for variability, ensuring that every user question within predetermined categories receives the perfect answer. Now, these answers can also be enriched with source links, images, and files to improve the user experience further. Cached answers are essential for safe, reliable, and efficient AI communications and are a powerful tool to mitigate risks associated with dynamic AI responses. So opting for on-premise AI deployment presents a strategic advantage for organizations aiming to maintain control over AI outputs and data privacy. Now, this approach benefits entities with high security needs or those in heavily regulated sectors, as it ensures that sensitive information and AI interactions are confined within the company's internal network. So on-premise AI enhances data security through encryption, both in transit and at rest, and simplifies compliance with regulations like GDPR and HIPAA. Now, additionally, it allows for customizable security protocols and secure authentication integration, enabling organizations to tailor security measures to their specific requirements. So while the initial investment on-premise AI may be higher than cloud alternatives, it often results in lower long-term operational costs. So on-premise AI deployment allows businesses to harness AI's potential while exerting complete control over their data, ensuring regulatory compliance. Okay, So enabling a human team to oversee AI interactions is key to avoiding legal issues and customer dissatisfaction. Now, this approach mitigates risks associated with automated responses and capitalizes on the nuanced understanding and empathy that only humans can offer. So we've already explored mechanisms such as approval workflows and cache responses, which empower human intervention in curating and validating AI responses. These methods highlight how a human-in-the-loop approach can significantly refine the quality and reliability of AI interactions. So by leveraging your team's collective expertise and judgment, you can drive AI to respond to queries in a way that reflects your company's values and commitment to your customers. Okay. So for those interested in what we do at Await.ai, we are focused on creating a conversational AI chatbot that doesn't leave you legally liable. So our product, Await Cortex, puts AI control back into the hands of humans with features like simple approval workflows, dynamic caching, ready-made safeguard templates, and automated testing. So we're protecting against all the problems with AI we covered throughout this presentation, such as hallucinations, malicious prompts, data security, and much more. So if you'd like to try Await Cortex, you can join our alpha at alpha.await.ai or contact me for a one-on-one demonstration. So I'd be happy to see how we can deploy truly safe AI for your business. So now I'm encouraging you to get our AI lawsuit prevention checklist. So if you're looking to implement AI without legal repercussions, we've created a comprehensive AI lawsuit prevention checklist designed to help you navigate the complexities. So it's going to cover everything from ensuring data privacy compliance to establishing robust approval workflows and safeguards. It's an invaluable resource for anyone looking to deploy AI chatbots confidently and responsibly. So you can contact me to download your copy or click the link I'll be putting in the chat now. So I think I'll be giving this to Riley here. Do you have the link to that, Riley, to start putting in the chat?
Yep, it's in the chat.
Okay, so we'll give everyone a few moments here to start downloading that. Just make sure you actually download it and then open it on your computer because it is a big file, might run a little slow in the browser, but if you download it and open it, everything will be good. Would love some confirmations in the chat that everyone's able to download it. And then we will move on to our Q&A session. So I'm going to stop my share here. Okay. Some confirmations in the chat. Okay, sorry, just open up our comments here. There we go. Looks like Emilio does not see the link. Let's see.
Post it again.
Great.
Thanks for that presentation, Zach. That had a wealth of information.
Yeah, no problem at all. Thanks for working the chat here, Riley. Okay, so what I'd like to do now, Emilio, please confirm that you got that. We'd love for you to get that. Let's just open it up for a Q&A. Does anyone have any questions? You know, I know that was a lot we covered there about implementing AI, anything you have to worry about, happy to answer them. And if while we're waiting for that, maybe I'll hand it over to Riley. Maybe you can give a little bit of your background and what you do at Await.ai.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Zach, for introducing me. I'm the founder of Await.ai. So we build AI chatbots that don't leave you legally vulnerable. I guess I kind of got into the AI space probably almost 3 or 4 years ago, but always have been messing around with it for almost 5. I think initially our first journey with AI was probably around the AI based on knowledge bases, and that's kind of where the initial idea stemmed from, and how we kind of got to Await.ai is, hey, everybody thought that these were great answers, and we're using RAG. You have your embeddings, you have your vector database, but there's also no way to fully prevent this, especially when you're using enterprise large language models. We've talked to a couple of enterprise clients who we've always been kind of interviewing people. We've had the opportunity, luckily, in our network to get a lot of those questions on AI. And a big one that came up was, how do we prevent false answers? Because we work a lot with, of course, regulated industries, governments, and we've actually just been kept working with some of our government clients and enterprise clients. And that's how initially we built the product. So I think so far it's been a success. We've definitely established our goal and still making steps to get there. But yeah, that's kind of background about me and how we kind of made Await.ai. So I
Mhm.
think we
Yeah.
got some questions here. Yeah, Zach.
Yeah. No, I'll start answering these questions here. Just a little bit quick background about me. I'm kind of on the marketing side and engaging with clients, sales, that sort of thing. So a lot of these questions about, user feedback and how we actually came to the idea and the problems of traditional users of AI. I've seen a lot of those firsthand. So I have a few here. Let's start with Tyler Nichols here. What are people's most common concerns about deploying AI? So I think I'll take this one. So obviously it's the recent chatbot related lawsuits. It makes them cautious to deploy it without extended testing. Handling questions from thousands of monthly website visitors. We've tried to build our platform to support hundreds of thousands of concurrent users. A lot of these websites and clients we work with get a lot of traffic. There's also been trouble translating the value of AI to key stakeholders. We found the main benefits that they kind of latch onto are the internal support team's efficiency, customer satisfaction improvements, and saving them time, money, and a lot more. I think I'll do, Riley, if you don't mind, I'll do Whosums here, and maybe you can take Farah's.
Sure.
Okay, so what patterns have emerged from user feedback that shaped Await Cortex's current features? I think Riley touched on that a little bit, but I'll touch on it from my perspective. One feature that I can think of off the top of my head, a lot of clients wanted to test potential responses from the bot, but needed a dedicated space to compare them as they made configuration changes. So that's one of the reasons we're building a new section of Await Cortex dedicated primarily to versioning. Essentially, you're going to be able to compare a set of test questions. You're going to have your test set of questions that you want to compare all these responses to, make a bunch of different configurations in our different panels and settings, and compare all these new responses you're getting to that one set of test questions. So we really want to enable users to track, hey, I make a change here. How is this actually affecting what the end user sees? So off the top of my head, I think that's one of the features that has emerged. And I'll probably hand it over to you now, Riley.
So we got a question from Farah. Thanks for asking. So what are the roles typically involved in purchasing process of AI chatbots, and how do their priorities differ? So I think we've had quite a bit of experience with this after deploying to some governments and working with some big enterprise customers. Usually you'll see the IT directors typically start the engagement with the newest technology. Usually they might be pressured by management to kind of implement some of these AI features, but they also need to consider their risk, especially if you're talking about regulated industries. So that's kind of what we've seen. Also, who's the people driving our platform? So typically in governments, we've seen communications managers. They want to understand the value of their fast responses to questions from their website visitors. And they really do need to maintain brand reputation with their customers. And they've worked so hard to build. Just that's kind of popular in the governments and regulated industries. So that's what I've found is typically our people who start these engagement with AI chatbots and lead it to fruition.
Yeah, and if I can piggyback on that, Riley, I've also noticed with a bit of hesitation, right? Heads of customer support, heads of support, that sort of thing. So obviously there's the fear, hey, AI might replace my job. That's why we come with these human approval workflows and really bring the human back into the mix to say, hey, we're not here to replace your job. We're here to increase the efficiency of your team. And you're actually going to have something to do here that is support related. You have this institutional knowledge of the best way to respond to these tier one tickets. You're going to be the one approving them. And obviously this is completely an option. Some people typically in the non-regulated industries just want the AI to do everything, right? In the regulated industries, they want the answers to be 100% accurate. So that's when we kind of introduce them to more of the human approval workflow features and kind of let them handle that sort of thing.
Definitely. Nice. So we got another question here. So how do you determine when an organization is ready to adapt AI chatbots? What do you think, Zach?
What was it, Riley?
It's how do you determine when an organization is ready to adopt AI chatbots?
Okay, so I would say, sorry, the chat's not updating there. Organizations are typically ready to adopt a chatbot when they have tons of tier one support requests they can't resolve quickly. They also have lots of website visitors, typically, and they understand the value they want to get out of a chatbot. So there's three pretty main things. Now, the industries that have a lot of those tier one support requests, that can vary quite a bit. We found the governments, right? Because whether it be tax information, how do I get a marriage license, that sort of thing. There's a lot of requests that are essential, but that information is out there. So what Await Cortex can do and a lot of these chatbots can do is aggregate that information from your website, from your internal content, present it to these users very quickly and solve those tier one support requests. Now, the second one, lots of website visitors. Again, that's governments, that's universities, that's anybody where people need to go to the website to push something forward. A lot of times you log into the product, you can push a lot of things forward in the product, but whether you have to fill out an application on a website, track something on a website, it's a news website, wherever there are lots of visitors and content's constantly updating, that's going to be another place I think where chatbot can shine. And then finally, they understand the value they want to get out of an AI chatbot. Now, I'll be honest, the first, couple of, I guess, year or so back, year and a half, 2 years back, when we were talking to people about the AI stuff, a lot of people were coming to us for custom solutions. And this is when we were building our product. They knew they wanted it, right? The stakeholders knew they wanted the AI. It was a new big thing, big enterprise search use cases, ingest all of our internal data, allow people to ask questions on it, automate everything in my business. There was a lot of, I would say, unrealistic expectation around AI and not really clear KPIs for the deployment. So for anybody in the webinar who's thinking about deploying AI, I recommend you really hone in to one particular use case and understand what you actually want to get out of it and think of those KPIs early before you start, getting the product, before you start building the solution. Really hone in on what you want to get out of the chatbot.
Yeah, and I think another point that you kind of touched upon there, Zach, is people who are ready to surface information, especially with these counties, they have kind of legacy systems at times. The information might not be easily accessible. So really trying to translate that information to give their counties what they deserve, because as citizens, they kind of need access to this public information. And as counties, as governments, they want to really give as much information to their citizens as possible and make it accessible as possible. So that's really taken the next step forward into how we ingest data, how we serve data. So I've really seen that be a huge transformation that people are looking towards to really adopt AI and chatbots, especially.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Riley. Having some issues with the chat here. Is there any more questions in there?
Yeah. So we got one from Tyler. So
Mhm.
Tyler asked, what are the differences you've noticed between users in regulated industries versus non-regulated industries? You want
Okay.
to take that one, Zach?
I mean, it's up to you, Riley. I could take it. Yeah, no problem. So where do I start here? Typically, users in regulated industries prefer to spend more time testing, approving, safeguarding, and caching answers. So they'd rather an answer never be shown than to be shown with even a slight error. Kind of what I talked about previously. They want to bring the humans in on the mix. Um, and the consequences are critical. I mentioned one small example with a hospital, right? You say, hey, you can find the emergency room at this side of the hospital. It's not on that side of the hospital. You're potentially dealing not only with getting your business in trouble, but with a human life. So there's really, really big implications for AI at the moment that I don't think a lot of people are thinking about with these, this AI with the text outputs. And, the examples are always fun to think about, but another one is, especially on government websites, for example, an emergency alert. Imagine you go to the chatbot, you say, what's going on in the state right now? It says there's an emergency alert. There's a tornado coming. You're somewhere that doesn't even get tornadoes, but now you're thinking, am I crazy? What's going on with the climate change? So these answers, they need to be 100% correct, especially for governments, highly regulated industries. Now, you transition more to non-regulated industries, we can have a little bit more fun. Okay, so they typically prefer a more AI-driven approach with more disclaimers in the product. So for those of you who are looking to implement AI, it's important to note that, OpenAI, a lot of these popular ones, you'll see disclaimers all over the product because disclaimers tend to actually reign supreme in a legal sense more than your privacy policy, more than your click wrap agreement. These actual disclaimers in the product are very important. So if you're going to go externally facing with AI or even internally facing, to help people make decisions, having disclaimers saying this AI could make mistakes. This AI, don't put sensitive information to it. It could do this, it could do that. That's going to help you a lot more than something buried in a terms of agreement. So I think that's something very important to note. And a lot of non-regulated industries are fine with just those disclaimers to cover themselves.
Yeah.
So essentially letting the AI do its thing with less testing and cached answers, but focusing more on disclaimers in the bot to let users know that they could get those incorrect answers. And I might have cut you off there, Riley.
Oh, no problem. And I think like just in like what everybody sees nowadays, Chat GPT is more of that non-regulated approach. I'm sure you've seen the horror stories, Zach, but their disclaimer right there, Chat GPT can make mistakes. That's all they really need to kind of power that unregulated industry that they're in.
Mm.
But even towards the regulated industries, you might not just think of the healthcare, but also these companies with huge brands, for example. I think a popular one was like a car dealership, for example, and it's selling some car for $0 deal. And that just makes the brand look bad. So not only just for a safety concern, but also for a brand awareness term as well, because it's really important that you want to say in your specific words, you want to make sure that you're on brand. So I think those are really important when we even veer towards non-regulated and regulated industries, is being on brand and making sure you say the right things.
Yeah, no. And another feature I love in our product, Await Cortex, is adaptive disclaimers. So it starts with the way we tackle safeguards in Await Cortex. You have a keyword. The bot's gonna put very simply here, and interject if I'm wrong, Riley. Put simply, the bot's gonna find a keyword in a user input. It's gonna respond with a can response because it saw that keyword. So whether the word is violence, it's gonna say, hey, I cannot respond to that because it mentions violence. Now, that's completely blocking an answer out, right? It's taking a keyword, giving a canned response. Now, adaptive disclaimers, which we actually just released in Await Cortex, it's going to be kind of similar where it's looking for a keyword in the input, but it's not going to block the answer. So the AI is going to try its best to still respond to that question, but you're going to get, instead of that canned response, you're going to get a canned disclaimer, a brand new disclaimer under the answer. So for example, maybe when someone says taxes, you don't want to completely block the answer, say, hey, I can't answer anything about taxes. Maybe you want the bot to try its best to generate an answer about taxes, and you want this disclaimer to appear and say, hey, I'm attempting to generate this answer telling you how to do your taxes, but never trust me, I can always be wrong. So the adaptive disclaimers are very important as well, I think, for regulated industries and non-regulated industries to, hey, still have some of that power of AI generation, but kind of cover yourself at all different ends.
Yeah, I see a lot of people nowadays just deploying AI and not really thinking of the repercussions. So even that little disclaimer can go a long way. And I think another interesting feature that we have is the adaptive keyword changer. So essentially, I think it's a great example with our company. We have how we like to say our name is lowercase await.ai. And even if you give the LLM a million times, you prompt engineer it the best you can, you're still not going to get that on brand focus for your LLM to output your specific word. So having those adaptive keyword changers and keyword generation is super important that I've found. It's something super annoying that I've found with a lot of these AI platforms.
Great. Any other questions, Riley?
Yeah, so we got another one from Farah. You guys have been awesome with
Yeah, thank you.
So what aspect of AI chatbot adoption must often require reassurance for potential users? That's a really interesting one. Really is.
Yeah, no, I think I could take that one as well. No problem at all. So I think the biggest one is that AI is not here to replace your support team. Okay, so it will make them more efficient and allow them to focus on higher priority tasks. But the real value comes from improving how quickly you can resolve tier 1 support requests and enhancing the quality of support for tier 2 and tier 3 requests. That seems to me, and I touched on it before, the biggest nightmare headline right now. Hey, AI is going to take my job. AI is going to do this. AI is going to do that. I think if done properly, it's going to be like any other tool. If you give the humans the power, right? If you have an axe and it's just a wooden handle, it splinters up your hand, you put some tape on it, now you allow a human to wield it, right? So if we put the right features in place to allow humans to use AI to their advantage, I think with the natural, evolution of humans, I think this would be really, really great for society. And I kind of disagree from some of the headlines I've been seeing online. I don't know if you want to touch on that one, Riley, but
Yeah, because I mean, you see a lot of people on, for example, LinkedIn just generating their posts and thinking that ChatGPT is going to automatically write them the best post. But I mean, us AI experts, we can see right through that. But I remember having these grand thoughts of, hey, can we automate customer support? For example, we've deployed a lot of products in our time, and I thought, hey, this would be a great idea to automate the products. But after lots of testing, iterations, it's never going to fully automate that customer support process. It might surface helpful, relevant information, but a lot of the times it takes an expert person to really drive those resources to make it effective. And just the same as if you're driving ChatGPT, you're going to make hallucinations, mistakes, but it's all a part of the person who's driving it and who's putting that potential information in and making sure it's accurate, and that will drive the great results. So I think there's a lot of use cases for AI to automate that tier one support, the easy questions and answers. But if you're really getting into the more complex intricacies of, for example, solution architecture, there's a million different risks that the AI doesn't know about, and that's really not going to automate it fully. So I think people should use AI more as a tool rather than an automation approach. And I don't know if you've seen this in lots of these softwares. For example, I've seen Jira get upgraded, Confluence get upgraded. And honestly, I don't find the AI to be very useful as writing the content myself or as the team, because you're just never going to get that correct knowledge. But for example, finding common acronyms and finding relevant information is amazing, and Atlassian's done a great job of that. But it's really down to the human to drive the AI to be correct. So I don't think AI is going to be replacing jobs anytime soon. Maybe for those like more basic cases like copywriting, but you're still just going to get ideas, and you're going to need to do this through an approval process and through proper regulation, because the AI can't just go and drive itself. You really need an intelligent human behind it to really get those best results.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly. And speaking on driving, let's talk about autonomous vehicles, right? So we've been talking about autonomous vehicles for some time now. Is anyone in this call here, are you gonna, well, some people do it, you've seen it online, fall asleep behind the wheel of a Tesla driving autonomously? Most people are not gonna feel safe doing that. And we've been talking about autonomous vehicles now for, I mean, quite some time. Yes, you're dealing with the real world. You're dealing with human life. You're dealing with dangers. You're driving, 2-ton machine. Think about the implications that some of these, breaking this infrastructure for some of these companies, let's say, a hospital, military technology. Technology helps a lot of people in the real world as well. So I don't think there's quite that much, I guess, need, or I would say need to just let AI reign free, especially in these regulated industries, because you're talking about really tangible damages to industries, to human life, to well-being, if you let this stuff do what it wants to do. So for a lot of these critical jobs, I don't think they're going to be wiped out from AI for a long time, as long as humans are still thinking critically like they are and like they always have, and they're able to check things and collaborate together.
Yeah, I got, this is a really interesting question from Ahmed, and I think it kind of relates back to what we were talking about before. But what misconceptions about AI chatbots have we had to overcome with people? I think that's a really good question. I think just to start off the conversation, some of the misconceptions were, can this do everything? And that's something we kind of had to start coaching people on, is AI can't transform everything. And it's not going to transform everything. It's only as powerful as you and your team help build it out to be. So we've had very long conversations with lots of customers about how do we deploy oh, we've seen all these solutions and they've been able to do this one specific use case well, but what they really don't think about is all the 99% of use cases. And typically what we've seen is people have been a bit, I don't know, thinking that AI can do a bit more than it really can. And this is kind of where it comes down to some of those manual approvals, some safeguards, and also just some automated tests before you generate the prompt or give it to the customer. is you need to manually go through these prompts, check them based on your criteria, and really make sure that it's getting checked. And another misconception is that this can scale to infinity. And that's a really hard thing, especially when you're talking about on-premise AI, because you need a huge amount of infrastructure to deploy this AI on premise. And it's something that you really need to be cautious of, especially if you're in a regulated industry, if you need these specific standards. You're going to have a large team around DevOps, around just the firewalls, around the product team to implement it, around the implementation of actually educating the users how to use it, and seeing that it's actually valuable. So misconception would be that it's really easy to implement. In a lot of cases, it isn't. And when you talk about on-premise, but when you start going to these cloud alternatives, it does get a bit easier. And there's a lot of automated solutions like our platform that can really automate like knowledge retrieval. I think we have a couple of different integrations. We have Jira, Confluence, we have files, we also have website. So a lot of getting that information and serving it to the AI chatbot is a really big feat. You have things to think about like context length, about token generation, and there's a lot of other costs associated to deploying AI that a lot of people don't think about. But we've kind of tried to make that as easy as possible with the Await AI platform, something that I'm really proud about being able to be a part of, because it's really difficult to break down those barriers. But if you can make it more accessible to people and make it more human language, because if you go into a lot of the AI stuff, it seems like you're talking about some alien technology, but in reality, it might be just a simple word or phrase that might sound more technical than it really is. So you really have to break down those barriers, educate the team. And yeah, I think that's my misconception. Zach, do you have any?
Yeah, no, thank you everyone for these great questions. Really appreciate it. Thank you for joining us today. I hope everyone got their AI lawsuit prevention checklist. But don't let me butcher the technicalities here now, Riley, but some of the common misconceptions that I've seen, or I suppose one misconception, is that AI is never wrong just because it's trained on a specific data source or context, and that it will not hallucinate because of that. So from what I've seen, this is not always true unless the AI is actually custom developed in-house, which is very, 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 very costly and time consuming. And I think this is because cloud LLMs are typically trained on some base context, so they can pull from that to respond to questions, no matter the context that you provide to it. So we found that cached answers and safeguards can eliminate hallucinations almost completely. So basically, I suppose the main point is you might think it's you're the only one who's ever provided information to this model, but it had to be trained to actually provide answers in a certain way, unless you've developed it in-house. I don't know if you want to add to that, Riley, but that's one that I've found as well.
No, you're absolutely correct. Developing a LLM in-house is a crazy feat to do. You have to have a lot of money, a lot of GPU. But sometimes you can just utilize what the cloud LLM has. You can fine tune it. You can add safeguards. You can add specific triggers. So it's really just trying to use what you currently have and refine it to something that you can actually deliver to people, which I've seen very useful and very effective. We got another question here. It's a cool one. So what are some questions people typically ask about managing AI chatbot security? That's a cool one.
Ooh, okay. Well, you might want to piggyback on this one, but definitely where the data is stored, how accurate responses are actually going to be. Usually in the demos, people want to see it trained on whatever context they actually want to have it trained on. Most people that we're handling at the moment, but we primarily like to go the website route. We do the internal stuff as well. If you can get a hold of that data source you actually want to be pulling these answers from, definitely good to be looking at. How many concurrent users can be supported? That's we're actually working on adding that to our pricing calculator soon, getting people's actual concurrent website visitors or monthly website visitors to factor that into kind of the pricing and predicting for that. And obviously what sort of data that the chatbot can be trained with. Like Riley mentioned, we have some connections to Jira and Confluence. We love the Atlassian products. Is it PDFs? Is it text? Is it a scraper and crawler? Is it some more complex stuff? Is it internal databases? What can I train this chatbot with? That's another big question. So I think the questions I just listed are very important to ask when anyone in this call and anyone in this webinar is evaluating a new AI solution. Where is the data stored? How accurate will responses be? How many users can be supported? And what sort of data can the chatbot be trained with? I think that's very important to start asking. I don't know if you want to add to that, Riley.
No, that's absolutely correct. And I think we've had a lot of, for example, public governments, and we've found that to be something really effective because all of their data is public and it needs to be publicly accessible. But I think we've all been through it, Zach, is through these very regulated industries. They want all the data in-house. They want to know where the database is. And that's really the biggest concern I see in terms of security. But a lot of what I don't see people asking is, how do you prevent, for example, like DOS attacks or denial of service attacks? And what we've kind of started to do with our platform is allowing users to, like, for example, we have some counties in the United States. And what we want to do for these specific counties is they're operating mainly in the United States. And what we've effectively been able to do is geo restrict only people in the United States rather than the entire world. So that's taking a huge other elements of like, how are you restricting actual anonymous users, because these are anonymous users who are using the chatbot. So how do you actually enforce those strict protocols? Another one is like limiting use per person, because of course you can spam a chatbot as much as possible. When you're talking about AI, if you're generating a response, there's a cost associated to that. So just making sure that you have the proper restrictions in place by what's the usage, who can use it. Those can often help alleviate a lot of cost troubles in the future, because you're paying per API request unless you're running it on premise. So that's one of the big things I see with security, which a lot of people aren't talking about, but is a really important topic.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And another one, definitely permissions, right? Well, with any tool, you need permissions, okay? Especially if it's in these large enterprises that we work with, particularly in the regulated industry space. You need to be able to say, who can feed this bot, right? Who can interact with it? Who can do anything around it? You need to have the same permissions that you'd expect from any other product. That's definitely a big thing as well, because this it's essentially, I mean, if it's talking to your end users and you train it wrong or it says the wrong thing, that is on you, especially with these human approval workflows. So that's why we've kind of brought some of our more organizational features into there, sharing knowledge bases, kind of siloing agents, that sort of thing, to ensure that only the people who have the authority in the actual institutional knowledge to know if these answers are right are the ones approving if these answers are right and configuring the bot. So I'd say that's another big one as well.
Awesome. It seems we haven't had a question for a bit, so it seems like we kind of answered a lot of people's questions with in terms of AI deployments, and
Mhm.
I really enjoyed your presentation, Zach. I mean, you really went through the say, like for example, prompt injection, which is a huge thing, and I've actually played around with a bunch of websites, and it's so easy to prompt inject them. I've seen Elastin do a really great job of preventing some prompt injection, but that also has some problems when you talk about like the actual quality of the response. So it's what are those middle grounds?
Mhm.
We have one more from Tyler. This is a really fun question. I'm sure we have both have some great things to add to this. What features did clients push that weren't initially part of the Await Cortex roadmap?
Well, a lot of them, right? Because we primarily try to only drive our features from clients. Okay, so one that I can think of off the top of my head is the human approval workflows. We saw a lot of people trying to jerry rig their own testing methods, their own approval methods, whether it be in a CS or an Excel sheet, commenting, "Hey, I don't like this answer. Hey, I like this answer. Hey, I don't like this," sending it to us as they're demoing the product, and stuff like that. We want to make this testing a little bit more self-service, put the power back into the humans, and we got a lot of great feedback from our current clients that also would like to see that feature. So that was one of the main reasons we brought that feature into the product. We thought everyone would want the AI to handle every request, but we found that organizations and regulated industries would sometimes like to spend lots of times, like I said, testing, caching, and approving possible answers rather than having the AI do everything. They're in no hurry. I don't know if you want to add to that, Riley, but
Yeah, I agree with you. And it kind of goes down to also wanting these enterprise functionalities such as audit logs, such as versioning. So you can roll back to like a previous version. You can kind of catalog it. And it's something that initially we thought that we could have somewhat of different versions and like kind of try to automate that process a lot. But it all came back to that like enterprise software features and functionality, which is still important with AI. So I think we've made a lot of progress on that.
Mhm.
Um, we initially always have been interested in permissions, of course. That was like a really big thing. Um, and we've started to try to enforce more of these granular permissions, granular safeguards. Everything's just getting more granular. And I think one customer brought up, which was a great one, is not only do they want this chatbot to answer people on their website, but they want it to drive their website. So finding a lot of those areas where people aren't getting the information they need, and what content has changed, what answers need to be updated. I think we've seen a huge use case in that, Zach, as we've had customers onboarded, is they're trying to not only use the AI to automate and improve their user experience on their website, but they're trying to improve their website. So I thought that was a cool feature that we've added to Await AI. It kind of comes down to our scheduler feature. So for example, you use a cron schedule each week, each day. It's scanning your website, seeing those knowledge gaps, seeing what's changed. And it can also go back to your versioning and the questions and answers on the versions and try to peek through what has changed, what can be improved. So I thought that was cool. And I think one other thing in terms of those type of features is I'm kind of just forgot at the top of my head. That,
Sorry, I can hop in there if you want. I had one that's come to me. Some people might want. So we love Jira and Confluence, right? Like I said, we love Atlassian products. Some people could think that those two integrations are a little bit out of place, but they are in there for a reason. So, one of our earlier clients, big enterprise manufacturer based out of Germany, they were looking for not just a website chatbot, but also something to take internally. So basically, they wanted to ingest all of their enterprise wiki, which was in Confluence. For those of you who don't know what Confluence is, think Google Docs, think SharePoint, basically just storage for all of your enterprise knowledge, whether it be PDFs, Word documents, etc. They wanted to ingest all that and basically aid their teams in finding information quickly so they could help customers more effectively. So that was one of the main reasons why we first came out with that Confluence integration, which makes it really, really easy to ingest your internal Confluence knowledge base and ask questions about it. And interacting with that intranet, having people, you can deploy it. It doesn't have to just be on your website. These chatbots in Await Cortex specifically, you can deploy that on your website, internally in Confluence. Basically, wherever you can embed this little piece of code we give you, you can put a chatbot. So a lot of people want to go internally. That's where that Confluence integration came from. Same with Jira. We eventually ended up taking them they love the Confluence one so much they wanted to do it with Jira as well, get insights onto their projects, their sprints, their initiatives, goals, etc. So that's how the Jira integration came about.
yeah, and I just remembered it now, Zach. So like understanding the feedback from users was a big one. So like what type of languages do they speak? How many people do interact with the bot? What was their experience like with the bot? So some of these feedback that we can get from the users and like some common questions and answers, I think that kind of came into our cached answer, is a lot of people were asking the same questions and answers. So we wanted to start caching those responses to save them money. And I think we've done a great job of that. But getting that analytics, the dashboards, I think we've started just driving some more KPIs from some of our customers, what they're trying to see, who's interacting with their bot, what type of platform are they interacting with their bot, what are the different locations are being interacted with the bot. So I thought that was a really cool feedback that we've gotten from a lot of customers. They keep coming to us with new KPIs, what they're trying to get. And yeah, it was really great to see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, if there's no other questions, I will do one more little piggyback on a feature, and then I think we can close out here. Just a small one. We have the crawler, so you can create a knowledge base with the crawler, train the bot with that. We have Jira, we have Confluence, and we have files, drag and drop a PDF to train your bot really easily. Also text. So if you want to just copy a piece of text, from the web or from a document, and you don't want to put a whole file in there or crawl a whole website just to supplement a little bit of that context for the bot, you can easily do that. So just type what you want. That's a big one that people were asking for as well. So I think, Riley, how I want to end this off is first, I don't know if you want to send it back in there. The link, I've sent it a couple times. Not sure if everyone's seeing it. Let's make sure everyone gets their AI lawsuit prevention checklist. Just download that onto your computer, open that, check it out. And what I want people to get away from this webinar. So the first thing is, especially if you're in a regulated industries, you got to be safe deploying this stuff, okay? You might feel a little bit of pressure from internal stakeholders to get AI on that website internally to start deploying AI, but I encourage you to go through a stringent testing phase, ask the right questions to the person that you are getting this product from, this chatbot. How many users can support? What file types can I ingest? how accurate are the answers, what sort of hallucination proof mechanisms do you have. Ask the right questions. Understand this stuff can get you in trouble. I mean, look at Air Canada. Riley mentioned the car dealership. There's been tons of other lawsuits. If this thing says the wrong thing and you don't have the proper disclaimer there, and it could easily get you into trouble. So that's something you really have to look forward to. And yourself as well. I mean, a trick that I've used, in the past, before using our own product to do it, but when I was doing some initial testing, you can actually just go to GPT, say, hey, give me some ways to prompt inject the bot. And all these bots you're checking out online, they usually have it on their website. You can try yourself to prompt inject them, to break them yourself. And a lot of the times you'll be able to. So that's kind of the benefit of the chatbots, is you could typically try them before you buy them, just right on the website. So definitely try to do some bad stuff, I'll say, and kind of get at the support. You'll be helping them, and you'll be helping yourself understand what this thing is capable of. But yeah, definitely understand the risks, and thank you everyone for joining us today. Look at that checklist, understand how to mitigate some of these risks. And as you start deploying AI, make sure you really know those KPIs and the value you're trying to get out of it. I don't know, Riley, do you want to add anything else to close out here?
I think closing thoughts is May 20th will be at the Orlandopreneur event. So anybody in the Florida area, please meet up with us there. We'd love to show you around the product, or give you a checklist in person on how you can prevent some of these AI vulnerabilities. So anybody in the Florida area, we're there to talk and meet you guys. So I'd say, yeah, that's all I have. Thanks, Zach, for putting this together. It's been really awesome.
Hey, yeah, no, thank you everybody that joined us today. Thank you to Ahmed, Farah, I think it was Huzum, maybe I think Tyler, and there was some other people in there as well who were asking a lot of questions. Thank you, folks. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Make sure you check out that checklist, and we'll be probably doing another webinar within the coming weeks or months here. So thank you very much. And you can always also definitely connect with us on LinkedIn. Check out our website, fill out the contact us form. We're happy to have a conversation. No obligation, just to see what your idea is for AI, and help you kind of look at the right things as you start looking at solutions. We love having these conversations. Yeah, I think that's it. So thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Talk to you later.
See ya.